Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Alan Ruff and Tam Cowan here with me. Delighted that you could join us as well. Thank you very much for all your support on our YouTube channel. And again, just having a look at the figures for not only the YouTube but the podcast as well. It's absolutely magnificent. And the downloads of our new app. Thank you for your support. It's growing bigger and better with your support. So all you have to do is hit that subscribe button. We're delighted that Tam has joined us. It's been a long 12 days for your man. I was trying to think of somebody that you sound like, Tam, with that. You're just getting the last remnants of the old COVID away.
I think it's always important to say somebody that's always followed the rules. I am not contagious anymore. Like that great joke for primary school gives a sentence with the word contagious in it. Couldn't tell that.
All right, okay.
Oh, it's a cracker.
Right.
But anyway, 12 days in my kit. It was, I would urge anybody tuned in, don't get COVID, you know.
Yeah.
The stories were true. 12 days in my scratcher. I mean, that's not into Ruffy, that's just that's an average couple of weeks for him, you know, but no, it was awful, you know.
Did you feel weak?
I felt weak, wanted to sleep non-stop, but I say, joy of joys, the best thing about it was, well, wasn't a celebrating that. I missed the good weather, I missed the Scotland games, but what was what hurt me deeply was that because of the international break, I didn't miss a single Motherwell game.
Yeah.
Absolutely raging.
You didn't actually wake up for the Scotland games?
No, I made do with the highlights of that, rather than the big build-up that Sky gave it.
Yeah. I think it was,
that's a story now, isn't it?
I think it was 5 minutes with nobody in the studio. But nevertheless,
it's good to be back. I feel a lot better.
Brilliant.
Horrible time. Wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Yeah, I'm delighted that you could join us. We'll be joined by Andrew Shiney a little later because he's going to talk all things Aberdeen ahead of the weekend. There's changes going on up at Pittodrie week by week now that Jim Goodwin is in there starting his own revolution. We'll get Andrew's thoughts on that. But to the main news, which has just broken in the last hour, and it's basically that Rangers have pulled out of the Sydney Super Cup. Here's the statement that's been released by the club. Basically says Rangers can confirm the club will not be participating in the Sydney Super Cup in November 2022 after it became clear the tournament organisers were unwilling to fulfil their commitments to Rangers. We have, with immediate effect, terminated the club's agreement with the organisers. Well, there you are. I mean, it's believed Rangers' agreement with the organisers was to be able to use the Old Firm brand. That was changed to the Glasgow Derby. I'm reading this out in complete disbelief, believe me, because I think we've moved into the dark ages when I'm reading it out. Rangers also claim that the Celtic had hijacked it, branding it as Ange Postecoglou's homecoming when the talks first began, and this is long before his appointment as the boss of Celtic. And the Ibrox Chiefs also insist details of the match were leaked prematurely. And also there's a suggestion, which hasn't been confirmed, that the organisers have failed to stump up the first instalments of payments, which again is open to debate. We can neither confirm that or deny it at the moment. So Rangers are now looking at alternative options when football shuts down, of course, for the World Cup in November of this year. Well, I did mention before that this is just a case of the tail wagging the dog. Rangers pandering to an element of the support that seems to want to drag this club back to the dark ages. And if the board reacts to it, then that can only suggest to me that they're also happy to go down this road as well. It beggars belief in the 21st century that this has happened. Liverpool are due to play Manchester United in a tournament, and I don't think there's any real hullabaloo about two great rivals coming together in England. They'll be compensated richly, I would presume, but 3 million quite not enough for Rangers. They're out of the tournament. They don't want to be involved in it. It's so backward, it defies belief, Ruffy.
Yeah, I have to say I'm gobsmacked as well. You know, as a minority there who have stated they don't want their team to go there. They have a right, that's their opinion. But I would have thought the majority, and I mean the majority in Australia, would have loved to see their team playing there. I would think there'd be more Rangers supporters over there anticipating them coming over, and what there is complaining here and some of the stuff that's been thrown out there. it just shows that there are things going on behind the scenes at Rangers, and they really have to do something about it, because as you said there, they're just appeasing the fans, the minority of the fans, because I think it's a much bigger thing. If you look at the whole thing, it's a PR exercise to expand the brand over in Australia, and they've just turned it down.
Tam, I'm gobsmacked. I've actually watched some interviews with Rangers fans talking about it as if it's some legitimate thing to do. It defies belief.
Well, I must say, I'm surprised right away that there wasn't a mention of the fans in that statement from the club. It's as if the club are saying that we've taken the decision. They've obviously been led by the supporters. And as much as I think the whole thing is ridiculous, and as much as we've spoken before at how I would love a Motherwell reserve team to be invited out to Sydney and for the Fir Park bank balance to be swollen to the tune of £3.5 million. What I would say as well, though, is there are two sides to every story, and I can't be two-faced here and not kind of in my heart applaud fan power. Because as much as yourself and Ruffy are saying it's a minority who kicked up a fuss about this, they seem to have been very, very vociferous.
No, he said it's a minority. I'm not quantifying anything. I just think right now,
I mean, either
you're in a situation, Tam, where they don't want to play against Celtic because there's fans, and by the way, fans on both sides. This whole old firm thing obsesses their life. This is a game, a sport, but some people live their lives by it. So there's the first, raft of numpties who all argue with each other about this.
Advocate here. You're talking about Liverpool and Man United and how as if they'll go hand in hand, best of pals, and play in a tournament. But if it was played in Germany and it was billed as Jurgen Klopp's homecoming, I bet you the Man United fans would kick up a fuss as well.
But who cares?
I know. I'm just using that as an example. I think, as I say, I'm caught between the devil and the deep blue sea with this, man. I think it's bonkers that they can't, because it would have been a second string team. I mean, even in terms of insurance and stuff like that, they couldn't possibly have contemplated sending their first team players over there. But to turn their noses up at that sort of dosh for the reasons apparently given, I do think it's bonkers. But you know, I'm a supporter of a fan-owned club. If this was a case of fan power winning the day, then you know I'm not going to have a pop.
Yeah, well, listen. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, clubs sometimes react to fans. You're perfectly entitled to do that. Fans are also perfectly entitled to voice their displeasure at certain things that happen in a club. That's fine. On you go. Do what you want. This is ridiculous for the reasons that they're stipulating there. It's a nonsense. Yeah. It's an absolute nonsense.
Yeah, the reasons are, you know, a bit hard to take in. It looks as if somebody's just sat down and went, right, how do we get out of this? What are the reasons? And Angie's homecoming one is the one that gets me. You know, I don't remember anybody big banners going out there going, it's a game of football. Send your team over and beat them. Aye. If it's his homecoming, send the Rangers team over there, beat them 3-0, and who cares?
And you know what? The bottom line is, see, if it had have gone ahead, for all the Rangers fans that were saying, well, we want nothing to do, etc., etc., I guarantee that even if the game was shown out here, our time, at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you try to tell me Rangers fans would have been glued to their TV sets, you know what I mean, watching Rangers playing Celtic.
Quite a few people, somebody says Peter's not happy. I couldn't give one flying about whether Rangers go or not, or I couldn't care if Celtic. The reasons that you look at here, it's just the tip of the iceberg of the lunacy that goes on with these two clubs. You know, and by the way,
well, there was that clip as well. Did you see the clip of Scott McDonald yesterday when he was being interviewed, and he was talking about he said the old firm, and then he immediately corrected himself with almost a wee nervous scratch at the back of his neck. He said the Glasgow Derby. You know, so even guys that have maybe, you know, there's Scott maybe, you know, no one to fall out with any Celtic fans who adored them. Maybe no that day at Fir Park, but he went on to be a hero, of course. But you know, when you've got all that stuff. I mean, you know, we have it all the time. Old Firm, when you've been growing up in Scotland, and I couldn't tell you the last time I missed one of these fixtures. I think they're always great. There's always a chance something's going to happen, and I wouldn't lie. You know, I've been slagged in the past by folks saying, "Aye, Cowan, Motherwell fan," but I've heard you saying you would never miss that game. I've not been to them. I've not attended one, but I watch everyone on the telly. You know, and I would almost compare it to naked attraction. You know, it's that way as a Motherwell fan. You're no meant to say that you watch it or that you or that you enjoy it. And as silly as the whole thing is, then you can't just keep your eyes off it. You know, so. But when I use that expression on the old firm, that's what you get brought up with, and we all know why. You know, mainly Celtic fans don't want to be associated with that expression anymore ever since 2012. But it's just part of the language.
Listen, you're a long time dead, but if you want to go down that road, fair play. If you live in that world of stupidity, fair play to you. Crack on. A great line from Daniel Brown. He says, "Maybe trouble avoided." That's another thing that we would have been talking about as well.
Nobody's thinking about the people in Australia. I mean, Rangers supporters who have probably never seen their team, and this would have been a chance for them and their kids and whoever to go along to that game, you know, as a football spectacle. You know, we see, you spoke about Liverpool, Man U. You can see when these teams go to like Thailand and Singapore how they're worshipped.
Yeah.
I mean, thousands of people don't get the chance to see them, but when they get in the vicinity, they turn up and adore them. You know, and then you get the spin-offs that come with that.
Well, you're saying, I have to correct Ruffy. Ruffy says nobody thinks about the people in Australia. The PLZ football show thinks of people in Australia. When I watched the programme yesterday, one lady in particular you were thinking of. Can we get her picture back up, please?
Yes, because we were worried about this because we didn't know who this lady was, because we had her on before, but I searched in my mind trying to look back for emails and messages. She's 90 years of age, and we were thinking, well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was one of Ruffy's exes from the Tennent's lager cans, but you can shed light on it.
I was watching, as I told you, I've been in my bed, and that's actually Manty Martha. It's Manty Martha Webb. Nay, you never hear that expression now, do you? Nay Cowan. Is it nee Cowan?
No, nay.
Yeah. That's my dad's sister. What camera am I on? Is it this one?
No, you're on the. You're right there, right ahead.
Right there, right. So I better say hi, Auntie Martha. I'm sorry I was only in today. But happy 90th birthday. I hope you're watching the day, or somebody will give you a wee nudge that we're talking about you again. And the great thing is, Martha, this actually saves me sending a card by airmail, because you know the cost of living now in the UK is murder. So this is great. I'm actually getting paid here today to send you a wee birthday wish, but I'm not on the video that your daughter Karen organised with your relatives in Scotland, because I was flat out. I was in my spare room. I couldn't get near Sophie or Liz. Didn't want them getting the bug. They send their love as well. And so happy birthday again. And great to see you looking so well. Old Scotch mother of mine, oh flower of Scotland, when will we see your lights again? The star, oh Rabbi Burns. Happy birthday, Martha.
Yeah. And that's all we've got time for today. That's the most unbelievable hijacked message of all time.
I'll tell you what, right, she's still a Motherwell fan, as is her son William. Hello to my cousin William. They would love Motherwell to go to Sydney. They would go to it. They would go to it. Get Motherwell as a replacement for Rangers.
Well, listen, I'm sure they'd be more than happy. I don't think the...
you know what would be great?
What?
I'm thinking of the footballers that have been in trouble, right? The great history, of course, with Australia when we sent all our crooks earlier. Yeah. Why don't...
Allegedly.
No, we did. Historically, we did.
I know.
Why don't we get a crooks 11? All the football guys that have been in the jail, that have maybe, I don't know, been done for drunk driving up in Dundee. Anything at all. Get a 1 to 11 and send them out.
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
I've got a funny feeling that's going to be talked about in a show on Saturday.
Oh, it's a Stonewall certainty. Anyway, apart from anything else, thanks to people who have posted their messages. Some people, obviously, favouring one or the other on this one.
Can I ask you one thing about that before we leave it?
Yeah.
I know that I read that Mr. Park had refused the offer of money from Mr. King.
Yeah.
Now that they've said we're not going,
Yeah.
will they be putting in a wee call and saying, can we have that 3 million?
Who knows? Who knows? I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be forthcoming because there's a bit of unrest between the two of them as well, and there's a bit of a fight going on in the background at the moment. Power struggle, and of course fan upheaval. Ahead of the big game, which we're going to be talking about shortly. One of the things that's going to dominate a lot of people's thoughts, Ruffy, ahead of the big game is the fact that Alfredo Morelos was pictured on crutches. It looks as if he's heading to London. It doesn't look as if he's going to be involved. How big a blow is that to the game on Sunday for Rangers?
I think it's a massive blow. I think the Rangers fans and the club know his worth to the team when playing at the top of his game, and I'm sure Celtic will be extremely relieved that if he isn't fit for that game, it's a B plus for them. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure there'll have to be another statement going out there now that that picture has been thrown out there. They'll have to react to it and let the fans know how bad it is.
Yeah, because even although he's only scored 1 goal in the derby, Tam, at the end of the day, I think he's been playing well enough this season that he could be a real thorn in Celtic's side. So it'll be a big blow.
Oh, it's a huge blow. There's absolutely no doubt about that. As much as, every non-Rangers fan in Scotland loves having a wee dig at Morelos for some of his histrionics from time to time and the play acting and stuff like that. He's an absolutely brilliant goal scorer. And I always turn these things around to Motherwell, Peter. If I see a Rangers team emerging for the tunnel at Fir Park and Morelos isn't there, I immediately think, right, we've got a wee chance.
Yeah.
It's a big loss. But it's a colossal game, isn't it?
Yeah, thanks to Michael Crooks and our journalist Craig. I think he's scored 2 now in the Old Firm game. So
The what game? I don't know what game you're meaning.
I think he scored 2 in the game.
It doesn't matter scoring goals. It's not great, but his assists and he causes havoc. And if you ask any defender for whatever team in the Premiership, they would rather him not playing than playing.
Yeah, I think
that's the bottom line.
Yeah, it's a big blow that he's out, but is it significant? And are there other players that can come in? You can give us your thoughts on that. And Malky says Roof is back looking fit. We'll be fine, and I think lots of Rangers fans will be looking and saying, "Oh, there are options." So it'll be interesting to see.
Man, Alex Lowry, Braithurst High School, Motherwell pupil, we were talking about him. After he made an astonishing impact when he came into the team, if you recall, he'd kind of been left out of things for a while, and I saw some clips. One of my absolutely Rangers daft mates, who was also at Braithurst, passed him on to me recently, and watching that boy in action recently, out with the first team, he's been sensational. I wonder if there was maybe a superstar brewing, who, a bit like, was it Derek Johnston, when he really made his name as a 16-year-old, scoring against Celtic. I wonder if they've maybe got that in Alex Lowry.
Well,
great wee player.
Fingers crossed, because he did have that little cameo as you're talking about, but one for the future. Certainly won't feature in the game on Sunday, but it's times like this that I think we've been talking about in the last couple of days, Ruffy, the amount of young players that you think, oh great, they're coming through, and then, I hope they don't end up getting, snatched by English clubs. And Alec Lowry, Rangers fans would love to see him develop the way Tam's talking about it. Celtic fans are now looking and saying Ben Doak looks as if he's very close to completing a move to Liverpool.
Yeah, you've just got to try and convince them that this is the club they should be at, but the automatic question that they're going to get hit with is, well, when do I get my chance? Have I got to wait 2 years? And then the boy has got to decide what they're going to do, because there will be offers, there will be scouts watching them in every game that they play. They'll know what the progress is like with them. They'll know how much they can get them for now rather than later on. And it's a big decision for their players.
Yeah, just ahead of this game, there's always a great build-up. There's always wild speculation about who's going to play. Some Celtic fans looking and wondering whether even Kyogo could get a place on the bench. We're looking at Morelos and now wondering who would go into the striking position there, and have Rangers been dealt a huge blow there. All these stories that emerge ahead of the game suddenly can tip your balance one way or the other to deciding who you think is going to win it. And strangely enough, I opened the emails today and there was one from Celtic, and it's just basically with the quotes from the manager who's delivered this kind of Churchillian speech, I think, to the players and the fans as well, just saying, my message is the same here. Don't play the occasion. Nothing changes. The basic principles of our game are the same. And it's basically one of those, it's just an inspiring speech that he's released as a press release. And it's basically lines to the players that he's undoubtedly going to say how to play this game. Don't play the occasion. Go out there, battle, walk out there feeling invincible, 10 feet tall. I'm paraphrasing everything because it's just one of those, get up there and get up for the fight and see if you can win it.
Well, it's one of these ones you do 10 minutes before you go out the door in the dressing room. You know, I don't think he needs to release something like that for the players to know the importance of this game. And if he thinks that gets him fired up, then so be it. But you get that when just at the moment, you know, no like 2 or 3 days before it. So I think if he's going to say that, he'll be saying it in the dressing room.
I'll tell you what, for the neutral's perspective though, he'll be sitting there watching the game on Sunday. That sounds brilliant. That suggests that he's going to go into this game the same way he has all the others. He's not going to be saying, let's keep it tight for, you know, the first half and then maybe catch Rangers in the break. That's clearly not his style. So he's going to go there looking for goals. And you know what it's like with a fixture like this, Peter. Indeed, a lot of the big derbies, you get an early goal that can really, really make the game, you know, before they start maybe slugging it out when it gets to 70 minutes.
And you're a neutral, Tam, so you can look at this game and, you know, Ruffy's about to give us his prediction because obviously he's off ski on a wee break. But what about yourself? You're looking at the two teams.
Yeah, I'm looking. Although I must say, I mean, I sent you in my prediction this morning for PLZ, and as you will be able to confirm in a second, I've gone for 2 each.
Yeah.
But I must admit, I don't know what the rules are with maybe changing the predictor, but that Morelos news. Slightly, you know, I'm thinking where else will Rangers get the 2 goals from, perhaps, you know. But I'll stick with the 2 each. But I would love it to be 2 each, 4 goals to watch, you know, and a bit of excitement. But it's going to be an absolute cracker, you know. But
I think even with Morelos out, and I think the good news that Rangers have Ramsey fighting fit because Rob Page said he went home fit, he's ready for the game. So I think Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is him to call on. It is one of those games so eagerly anticipated and everybody looking forward to the two of them going head to head, Ruffy, that I've also gone for 2-2.
Oh, did you?
I just think it's going to be a goals fest, this one.
Yeah, I think we'd all like to see that, but 9 times out of 10, you know, sometimes it becomes a bore. But we're looking at the way Celtic are playing, and everybody that's been on the show has agreed they're exciting to watch. They go forward. I always think if you have that kind of football, sometimes you're vulnerable. But we're not talking about Celtic's defence for a long, long time now. You know, every time we said, "Oh, this defence is murder," they lose goals. They haven't been losing goals. I've sat on the fence with not as many goals as yous, but I went 1 each, and my prediction's in there. But with Morelos, if he's not there, I would have probably had a look at that again. You know, I think he's that big. I think he's that big a player to cause Celtic problems.
You do you really?
Yeah, I do. Eh?
Yeah.
I think, knows, Peter, when that ball drops to him, and there's no many like him, and he's done it in Europe as well. When that ball drops to him 6, 8, 10 yards out, he knows where to put it.
Absolutely, but I don't think it's. I mean, I think he's a really good player, and I think it's a blow because of what he brings to the game, as Tam's highlighted there. But I do think both these clubs in the last couple of months have actually highlighted the fact that they've got strong benches. There are players that can come on and have to step up to the plate in this game.
Aye, I mean, you know, I think it might even have been Graham Alexander that pointed us out with both Celtic and Rangers after we'd played them this season, that he pointed to look who was on their bench, forget who they were able to put on the park to face Motherwell. But aye, they've both got really, really strong squads.
If Rangers lose, is it over for them?
Aye, I think so. Aye, because you know, Celtic haven't been dropping a lot of points elsewhere.
Let me flip it then. If Rangers win, I mean, I know the draw Celtic would have to
I would
get
think
out,
then
but
at
if Rangers win, is it momentum with them?
Aye, the post-split fixture then becomes almost a cup final.
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay. Ruffy?
No, I don't think so either way. I think there's like 18 points up for grabs. Tam's right, you know, they don't look as if they're getting beat at home, you know, but I still think...
You know what, Ruff, it's because you made the point. That was a great point. I'd totally forgotten about it. The Celtic defence was getting panned for the start of the season, and you're right, you don't hear anything about them now. They've all kind of maybe clicked a wee bit. They're all playing well with each other, good understanding, and you just don't have these calamitous goals that they were losing previously.
Yeah, and what I was going to finish with saying that we don't know what the split is. We don't know who's got the 3 home games, who's got the 2 away games. I still think Hearts and Hibs at home have got something to say in the end of this.
Okay.
If Rangers or Celtic are away to Hearts or Hibs, I think they've still got to play well to win their games.
Okay. We shall see. We're going to speak to Andrew Shiney in a few seconds. Just quickly, we've had from our adjudicator, Cheryl, who's our journalist, our digital journalist, and she said there'll be no changing predictions. Those two are at it.
I knew that.
And I think that's fair.
That's fine, I'm quite happy with
because
that.
there's none of that jiggery.
I like it that. Cheryl's not even in today.
Oh no, she's watching from afar. That's good
on her.
Even if she's not here, she's still working. That's one of these commitments.
That's good on her. There might have been a wee murder she wrote or Columbo in as well this afternoon, and she's still watching the show. Good on
but
her.
the good thing about it is, in Old Firm week, she's working. She's not away anywhere. Just thought I'd say that. Simple.
She
as
didn't
that.
even used to play with Celtic.
Well, of course, the next thing for him is he'll be kissing the badge. It's only a matter of time. Now, Andrew Shiney is there. He's week by week now. I can see a change in this man, Ruffy. There's a smile on his face. There's a wee jaunt in his step. Even Lewis Ferguson's playing for Scotland. What more can you ask for Andrew to get back to his absolute best? And of course, up there, the Goodwin revolution is gathering a bit of pace.
Yeah, they're playing a lot better. Players that are coming in, you know, are making a point. You know, they're getting results, but I still think they need to show that consistency. They need to go on some kind of run, you know, 2 or 3 game winning run for me to convince it's all turning. Because if they don't win, and Dundee have got a lot to play for, and I think they've got another hard game after that. If they don't get into the top 6, I'm sure that a lot of people have something to say about that.
Well, if Ange Postecoglou is releasing speeches to try and inspire his side, Jim Goodwin has also been chatting today, talking about the fans and their support, not only at home, but especially away from home as well.
It gives us great confidence as a group because, you know, we still do believe that there's, you know, that possibility of getting top 6, albeit it's an outside chance. There's no guarantees because we're relying on some of the other teams there to drop points. But it's great for us to believe, you know, to see that the fans actually still believe in that too. And they'll give the players a great lift on Saturday. I've got absolutely no doubt about it. I'm sure they'll make plenty of noise.
Well, there you are. Andrew Shiney. Jim Goodwin is now rallying the troops. Can you sense a sea change up there in the Granite City?
Yes, I think I can, to be perfectly honest with you, Peter. I mean, everybody took huge confidence from the victory against Hibs. They showed character by coming back from conceding an own goal. Yes, it was 2 penalties that got them ahead, but they won the game quite comfortably. There are important players back in the squad. Marley Watkins, who set up the 3rd goal. Andrew Considine, who didn't play a part but played a role in lifting the crowd for that game. And as Jim said, the crowd has stayed firmly behind Aberdeen despite their travails this season. And they're expecting to take in excess of 3,000 fans down to Dens Park on Saturday. And that will give everyone a huge lift when they step out onto the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, that's the good thing about it. When Aberdeen, you know, Tam, start to get results together, the fans do make the journey. They've got a good away support.
Absolutely, I've said it for years. Don't get me wrong, just at times to wind up both the Celtic Rangers fans, but I've described Aberdeen as having the best travelling support in Scotland. And what I meant by that, for all the barren years where they had won absolutely nothing, you know, absolute zilch, they still travelled in huge numbers to support their team, and I guarantee that every time Aberdeen popped up the fixtures list to be due at Fir Park, the cashiers, the money people at Motherwell were rubbing their hands red raw, you know. So I've always stood by that. I think they've got a great support, and they really add something when they come down to Motherwell. So yeah, I must say as well though, I thought I was doing bad with COVID, but Andrew Shinnie, dearie me, he looks so different.
In what respect?
Is that Andrew Shinnie?
Yeah, no, Shiny.
Oh, sorry. All right, that's okay.
Listen, I'll always pronounce his name 100% correctly. Andrew, I would presume, beg your pardon, that Dundee and Ross County on the horizon, you think 6 points will be enough to get them into the top 6?
I'm not convinced that 6 points will be enough to get into the top 6, but it's what they need to have a chance of getting into it. So they've got to win the 2 games, simple as that. They go down to Dens Park on Saturday with a bit of a spring in their step against a side that's bottom of the table at a ground where traditionally Aberdeen have done very well. So yes, I think they can win that game. The Ross County game at the Tawdry, that's going to be very difficult. It'll depend on how Ross County have fared against Hearts this weekend, because County have got a very good record at the Tawdry, and Aberdeen have at times struggled to get the better of them, whether up here or in Dingwall. So I think that's going to be the harder of the 2 games. But if they're going into it off the back of 2 victories, then yes, I think there will be a huge crowd at Tawdry. And again, as I say, the crowd will play their part, and everybody pulling in the same direction can get the 3 points from that game. And then it's a case of you've just got to sit down and wait for all the other results to come in. I mean, this is a new scenario for me. I mean, a decade, 15 years ago, you know, when Aberdeen were very poor, we were never thinking about top 6. We were trying to keep ourselves away from being relegated. And then Derek McInnes came on the go. And then, of course, it was bottom 6. What's that? You know, we're second or third or maybe fourth if it was a bad season in the league. And now, all of a sudden, we're involved in this shake-up for top 6, bottom 6. So it's a new experience for a lot of Aberdeen fans. But the great thing is, you've still got a chance. So you've got someone to cling on to. And the fact that they played quite well against Hibs and that there are key players coming back just gives you that little bit of momentum that can justify your optimism going into these 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before you go, Andrew, just as briefly on this one, as you look from a neutral point of view and you've witnessed the latest bit of news of Rangers pulling out of the Sydney Cup, you must feel great living up in Aberdeen, where none of this madness really affects your club.
It doesn't affect the club, but there's an awful lot of Glasgow Derby supporters, shall I say. I don't want to get drawn into this. Is the OF still a trademark or not? It is madness. There's no getting away from it. Every column inch between now and Sunday will be taken up by these 2 clubs. But without them, or without the other clubs in Scotland, they wouldn't exist. So, you know, give everybody else their wee moment in the sunshine. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm looking forward to watching the game on Sunday. I will watch it, and I think Celtic will win it. So there you are. My prediction is a 2-0 victory for Celtic, but it doesn't affect Aberdeen in any way. Not this season, anyhow. Maybe in future seasons. And who knows, if Aberdeen can get into the top 6, they could play a part in deciding which one of the ugly sisters wins the league.
It's a great line, Andrew. Aberdeen get into the top 6, and they mentioned there, I mean, they could have a major say in the either of the ugly sisters winning the league. I mean, I couldn't sum it up better myself.
That's the joy of getting into the top 6, Peter. You know, that for me, okay, there's a wee off chance of the European place or whatever, but aye, you know, if you get up there, I've experienced that in the past. As I say, we mentioned Scott McDonald earlier, but aye, if clubs come to your patch and maybe hoping for a party, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can upset the party then. That's a brilliant thing as a football fan. The other thing as well is, because, you know, a song that you rarely hear now at the football, in fact, years since I heard it, and this would happen if you finished in the bottom six and you ended up relegating a club. The old Vera Lynn, we'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when. I remember that in the past.
Absolutely.
When you just beat a team that was going down, and you wondered when indeed you would see them again. So that's again, it's a great thing with a split, because it means that you don't have. I mean, there's mediocrity in the middle of that league. Let's be brutally honest, right?
Yeah. But it's alive now.
I know it's alive.
This is a cup final of 6 teams.
You know, the standard is not great. We need to be brutally honest, but the split does, along with the playoffs, generate genuine excitement. There's no doubt about that.
And I love having Andrew on, because the great thing, excuse me, about this programme is not only yourself but Andrew. Is that ability to take a step out of the madness of all of this. I mean, Andrew doesn't want to mention the old firm. He'll now be known as Jenny for the next week, Ruffy, in the witness protection scheme. But it just shows you the great thing about all the people that come on the programme, to get a different perspective from being in this bubble of people. Because I think, you know, whoever's in that top 6, sometimes, you know, Celtic and Rangers could be accused of being slightly arrogant, as if they're going to get all the 3 points of every other club, and it's only about the games that they're going to be playing against each other, which I don't think is the case.
I mean, no, I said Hibs and Hearts. It was bad of me to admit Aberdeen, because anybody that goes up to Aberdeen at Pittodrie will get a game, you know, if they play the way we can. And it's a well-known fact that Rangers and Celtic say the only time you turn it on is when you play us.
Yeah.
So if it's up there, I don't agree with that. But I mean, Aberdeen, Pittodrie, 5 games to go. You know, the pressure's on Rangers and Celtic. There's no pressure on Aberdeen once they're there.
That's the one that always, I mean, you'll be able to look up the stats, and I think it is when Rangers fancy Aberdeen, they'll never turn up when they're playing Rangers. But I think if you look historically at the results, it would suggest otherwise.
Yeah.
You know?
Can I just ask you something? Do you think the 6 points will take Aberdeen into top 6?
Certainly, I don't think you can make any bold prediction like that at this stage, Peter. You know, when you look at the league table there, the bottom line is all that muddle of clubs in the middle. You know, they've all been able to beat each other, and you know, I would never put money on Aberdeen this season. Put it that way.
I think you know, it's the other clubs that will do enough just to edge them out, Ruffy. I might be wrong in this, but I'll tell you one thing: they'll be celebrating as if, you know, they've won a cup if they somehow managed to, when you consider their season, scrape in at the last day before the split I'm talking about. Anyway, it's an interesting one. Do you see them doing it?
Yeah, I think they might.
Yeah.
I think they might, but I don't think they'll get 3 points tomorrow.
Well, wait a minute, then they won't.
Yeah, 4 points not enough, depending on the other scores.
You need 6, Ruffy.
Who are they playing tomorrow?
So hold on a minute. Let's
Who
just
they playing
before
tomorrow?
Well, just before
Dundee.
Dundee, but they're playing on Saturday. I know. Just out of curiosity, so if Aberdeen
4 points.
get 4 points,
When
you're
are they
saying
on now?
Aberdeen right now are on 35 points.
So that takes them to 39. What's
Yeah.
6th place now?
6th place is 37, Livingston.
Well, you've got to win your games.
Yeah, so 4 points.
I think Livingston are on free fall.
I don't care about Livingston. 4 points is enough for Aberdeen.
I don't care about Livingston.
No, I'm saying I don't care. What he's trying to con me into.
You're the one that opened it.
Do you think Aberdeen are going to do it?
With 4 points.
No.
There you are, eh? You'd hate to have him defending you in court, wouldn't you? He'd break after the first 2 questions. Anyway, Motherwell St Mirren I'm looking forward to, Tam, because the old boy's coming back.
Aye, Stevie Robinson, he was very well liked at Motherwell. There'll no be any booing or anything like that, I'm sure, when he emerges for the tunnel. And but we really need to try and win this. The top 6, the kind of chase for Europe is the only thing that we've got left now after the cup exit. So that's going to be an intriguing game tomorrow. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. But it'll be good to see wee Robbo back down in a technical area at Motherwell.
Yeah, and of course, as you would expect, the St Mirren boss is only thinking about his side winning at Fir Park.
Yeah, listen, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I didn't make no secret of I love my time there. I still have a very good relationship with everybody at the football club. So we're looking forward to it for 90, 96 minutes. My sole focus will be on St Mirren getting 3 points and, hopefully giving us a chance to look up the table.
Yeah, okay, it's a tough one.
It's a bit strange. He texted me today and said that he loved his time at Motherwell so much that he actually hopes that we win on Saturday, because he's got no real care for St Mirren.
Yeah, that was Stephen Robinson, the painter and decorator, that texted you. But nevertheless,
it's the wee boy Ronan, isn't it?
Yeah,
who's been banging him in for. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the flesh. I've not seen him in the flesh since, if you like, he started putting his showreel together with all the smashing goals.
Yeah.
And I just hope Motherwell have got a player keeping an eye on him.
Well, I'll tell you who else is a real thorn, and he's playing well, Jordan Jones.
Oh, aye. The Jordan Jones story, somebody will write that one day, because when he was at Kilmarnock, absolutely flying, what a player, and then went to Rangers and it just did not work.
Do you fancy Motherwell to win?
Oh, Peter.
Top 6 is up for grabs here.
I know it's really up for grabs, but I think in the predictor, you can tell me if I'm wrong, I think I've actually gone for a draw. And I'm wondering if we've not won a game since Boxing Day.
Well, absolutely. You've had a win in the Cup over Aberdeen, that's about it.
Right, we've not won the league since
the rest
Boxing
of it's
Day.
Absolutely dismal. I mean, it's
been awful.
It's a terrible.
And the worst it is, Peter, ask any Motherwell fan, it's the actual performances, it's a lack of entertainment value. That's what guys spend a lot of money. Yeah. And that is a lot of money, and that's what they spend the money.
Do you think they're losing a wee bit of? Are they losing a wee bit of patience with Graham?
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Graham Alexander knows that himself. The club know that. After the last defeat, there was you couldn't find anybody on social media, on all the message boards, whatever, having a single word of support for the guy, and that's rare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whenever MD's under flak in football, there's always wee pockets of folks say, oh, come on, give the guy a chance, look at the stats, look at this, look at that, I've always, even as a guy that's a season ticket now for 42 years, maybe it's an age thing, I'm able to take a wee back step, because whenever MD asks me to start a season, how I think Motherwell will do, I'm very pragmatic about it, and I'll say, I just hope we're not in the bottom two.
Yeah.
I like to look at the bigger picture. It's almost as if anything other than that's a bonus.
Well, maybe the points that he gets in the remaining games, because right now they've got St Mirren and then Livingston. Maybe they sneak in and it changes people's perspective and buys Graham a bit of time as well, because there's nothing like the board looking at a huge amount of fans coming in the remaining 5 games. And if it goes pear-shaped, there's always a chance to get Mark McGee back for a third stint. Ruffy, how do you see it going?
Only if we Gordon recommends them.
You can tell he's going on holiday, can't you?
Aye.
He's just going to throw grenades and then get on the plane.
No, for everything you have said here, I've went for a Motherwell one. So I've went.
Yeah, I've gone.
I like it when the
2-1.
man. I like when the mat's over.
I really need it. And the bottom line is, here's if I thought Graham was watching here today, here's a big chance for him. If we finished in the top 6, if we managed to bag a place in that Europa Conference League and get a wee European trip for the fans next season, then wouldn't it be such a bad season after all?
Yeah, and I've just had a wee look, by the way, and I see you're back to your usual stuff, because you've got 6 draws. You've got 5 draws and an away win.
What is it? Is a draw not a recognised result in association football?
No, I'm talking about. I'm just wondering whether you're going to be actually weighing in for the meal at the end of the season.
Argument before was always at 0. It was a bet that my dad used to always put on as well, and he pointed out, he says, you're always winning until somebody scores a goal.
Yeah, and your dad is living in Barbados?
He's he's in Airballs Tower in Motherwell, but in a good day.
Exactly. Ross County Hearts, humdinger of a game.
Yeah.
Now this is I mean, everybody's obsessed with Rangers Celtic. I get it. I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to that game. But Ross County against Hearts, Ruffy, is a great one, because Hearts have got that kind of they know they're in third. That's fine. They've got the disappointment of losing Beningame, but Ross County, what a great season, I think, for Malky.
I mean, if Ross County get in the top 6, it would be absolutely amazing. I mean, I had
They
them
could climb up to 4.
I had them relegated. I'll hold my hands up and say that. But he brought players in wisely for down south, and they've all played particularly well. We are speaking about one of them being a nomination for Player of the Year.
Yeah, Regan Cook.
Regan Cook. You know, he's. I think Hearts have still, the players have, they've got the semi-final to play for. They still want to be third. You know, they've got a lot. And I was impressed with them in that 4-2 game against St Mirren. So I think I've went for Hearts to win just narrowly 2-1.
Yeah. Player of the Year, and they've got a nomination, I'm guessing, for Goalie of the Year with the boy Hungbo.
Yeah.
Joseph Hungbo, mind that.
Dundee.
Belter of a goal.
Oh,
yeah.
You know.
It's a good shout, Tam. What have you gone for in this one?
Have a wee look.
Hearts to win narrowly is what you've gone for.
Yeah, narrowly. I think they've got a wee bit of steam going at the club now, and I was probably for any Hearts fans tuned in because I'm doing Gary Locke's testimonial on Sunday night. You know a lot about Gary, don't you?
Yeah, I know.
I might pick your brain. I know loads about Gary, and he's a great guy, and he's a boy that takes a laugh.
Are you speaking at it? You're not hosting it?
Oh no, I'm speaking at it.
No, I didn't think you would be hosting it because they need to take they need to be a sniper to take Scott Wilson out of the game.
Scott. I mean, Scott. Of course, this is his last season as one of arguably the best tannoy announcers at any club in Scotland, but he's going to keep doing some of the kind of corporate stuff for Hearts, so Scott is hosting it in the Gorgie Suite Sunday night, and Gary Locke, I'm sure, will be warmly received by the Jambos that are in the room before you're able to go up and absolutely slaughter them. I can't wait.
Oh, absolutely. Nice little earner, that. Good one there for you, Tam.
Excellent.
Look at his face.
That's fine.
It's going to be a good night. I like Lockie. I've got a lot of time for him. Hearts, I think I'm just going to edge it. I've got them to win 2-1.
Yep, I've got them 2-1 as well. I think with Barry Mackay playing so well, I think they'll just nick it.
Okay, Hibs against Dundee United. Hibs 3-1 defeat to Aberdeen before the break. If anything, this slow Sean Maloney revolution, I think he's going to need transfer windows to change the mindset at the club.
Yep, again, but as somebody once said, it is all about results, and what a different perspective even the Hibs fans had on Hibs since they beat us at Fir Park in the Cup.
Yeah.
Suddenly they've got that absolute belter of a semi-final to look forward to, and a bit like it was to a lesser extent, if Graham Alexander can get us up there, can get us into the Europa Conference Cup or whatever it is called, that would put a wee gloss on the season. Sean Maloney, for his terrible and for some of those turgid performances the Hibs fans were watching, suddenly, if they even just get into the final, that means you'll be taking part in the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Changes everything.
Absolutely, it does. I mean, it's all up for grabs there with them. But they're not guaranteed top 6, Ruffy, yet. But this would go a long way to doing it. I can't split them between them and Dundee United. I've gone 1-1.
No, I think he's hanging on in there. Obviously, if you lose players like Nisbet and you lose players like Boyle, big players in your team, you've got to try and get to the end of the season, and obviously Porteous as well with the red card. So no, I'm still haven't been a big fan of Dundee United since they knocked us out of the Scottish Cup. So and I never think they've got 2 goals in them. So I'm going to go for Hibs to win 2-1.
Okay, the last game that we're going to talk about before we just get through some other little points, Scotland especially, I want to talk about as well and read out some of the messages from so many of our viewers on the programme, is St Johnstone against Livingston. Now, I think this is the weekend where we will get a definitive. I might be wrong, but I'm giving you my opinion. I think St Johnstone can get a narrow win in this Tam, and based on what I think Aberdeen are going to do, I think this will actually just be the writing on the wall for Dundee this weekend.
Aye, looking at both clubs, and a lot of your views on St Johnstone are maybe ever so slightly clouded by the fact they did do the cup double just a year ago.
Yeah.
So you always get the feeling, there's more to come for St Johnstone. They'll get themselves out of this. But
it's changed the team drastically.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And Dundee, by and large, have been, desperately poor So certainly, if I had to put money on it just now, I think Dundee are going to finish bottom, and I think St Johnstone will get into the playoffs.
Yeah, Livingston 2 defeats, Celtic and Hearts as well.
Yeah, I think I said there, I think Livy have had their great season. They've had that momentum where they were all free fall, they were beating everybody, scoring great goals and everything. But like every team, there comes a time when you go off the boil a wee bit, and I think they have went off the boil a wee bit. So I think with the wee boy Henry scoring goals now, I've went for them to win 2-1.
Yeah, okay. Did you go St Johnstone to win, Tam? Yeah.
You know what?
You're a draw. I think you're a draw in this one.
I think you're a draw. It's not an exact science. I would love to tell you, Peter, that see, I'm still in the back of Cove now. I'd love to tell you that I spent 3 hours coming to my decision about the predictions.
Oh no, I saw your predictions. I knew it wasn't 3 hours.
Part of them off, and I was maybe sitting in a lavvy this morning. It's not an exact science.
I get 21 points when I did that once.
Did you?
With a night out, and I was ill.
Oh, you were
the
brilliant,
next day. I was
Robbie.
ill. 21 points I had.
How far behind am I in terms of?
You're not. You're in the running.
I'm in the running again.
Honestly, you're in the running. You and Hugh and Tam and everybody. I mean, I don't know if we've got the predictor handy. We'll try and access it for you to have a look before we. But you're in the running. You're not out of the game completely, which is why
I'll happily pick up the tab if I'm bottom. There's absolutely.
That's the good thing about you.
Gentleman's deal, gentleman's agreement.
Absolutely.
No, Gabe, let me down. First half of the season.
Yeah, who? Anyway,
Obviously not told them we've decided to go up the Glen Eagles.
Before we go, a couple of things I want to get your thoughts on, guys. Scotland's potential World Cup group will be revealed tomorrow because, of course, the draw takes place in Doha at 5 o'clock UK time, Ruffy. And oh, how we wish we were absolutely stonewall certainties to be in it. But here's a look at Scotland if they could get past Ukraine and also Wales. And as you can see there, Scotland in that pot 4, Scotland, Ukraine, Wales, and the teams that you're looking at, I have to say, in pot 4, have now got to start looking and saying, okay, let's just say Scotland were in pot 4. They're then looking at pot 3, Senegal, Iran, Japan, Morocco, Serbia, Poland, South Korea and Tunisia. Then your pot 2 is Denmark, Holland, Germany, Mexico, USA, Switzerland, Croatia and Uruguay. And pot number 1 is Qatar, Belgium, Brazil, France, Argentina, England, Spain and Portugal. So I think it's just one of those ones, if you got to the World Cup, Ruffy, you'd just be delighted, but you're going to face 2, possibly 3 howitzer teams in a group of death.
Yeah, well, I think once you get there, that you've got to think about the fans. Who would they want to play? We know we're not going to win it, but you want to put a good account of yourself. So I would take Brazil. Any player, Scotland player over there would want to play Brazil. There's no doubt about that. And you're right, there are other big sides in there. But we've got to get there, but wonderful teams. And it's a wonderful array of countries that are there and teams that are there. Some teams we've never ever played before. But no, I think if you're a player, you go there and you enjoy it. I remember long time ago when we were at the qualifying stages at 78, Sean Connery came on STV and we get drawn against Peru and Iran, and he went, no problem. Cheers, Sean. I can't do that accent.
Would you go, Tam?
Would I go?
Yeah.
I would love to go.
No, but would you? But with Qatar, would you make a strong case for the
why not? Aye.
money?
Absolutely. But I don't even want to look at that now, Peter. Don't count your chickens, because as much as I think we've got a smashing team there ticking along very, very nicely. I know maybe the 2 late goals the other night maybe took a wee bit of the gloss off, but I think we're going in the right direction. But when I watched Wales, the week before, getting through in that game, they look tasty as well, so let's leave that for now. It's nice that we're there.
Yep.
As an either or kind of thing in pot 4, but let's just concentrate on this next game.
Couple of wee player stories roaming about. I know Jack Henry's not too happy being left on the bench for Club Brugge. He's talking about maybe leaving in the summer. He's not happy with the manager that came in.
I think he's a wonderful big player. You know, I think he's come on leaps and bounds since he's moved over there. I know he's not played a lot of games, but he looks a better player, and certainly I'm sure maybe some of the Scottish clubs might be looking at him. I don't know what kind of money. What did he go there for? Bruges, I can't remember.
1.5 million, I think.
I think he's a player, you know, that if you could get him for $1 million, you know, well worth it.
I think he might end up in the Championship or something like that. I think that's a more realistic look.
Both?
Championship. And you had to get in there quickly. Championship in England. And now the dreaded, you know, with Aaron Hickey, everybody and their grannies all being linked with him. Newcastle apparently in the race. It's great. I love the build up to the summer, Tam, because you get Kieran Tierney, potentially Real Madrid at 50 million. Suddenly Aaron Hickey is attracting attention. This is the great thing about the whole speculation.
You know, you almost think that the rules may change in that sometime soon, but another country coming in for him, could you think how many top quality left backs, left wing backs do we need? You know what I mean?
We're developing them.
We couldn't get Tierney and Robertson in their best positions for long enough, you know. And suddenly Aaron Hickey, who I think's a tremendous young player, he's in the mix as well. But hey, you know what? It's almost like an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great. Enjoy it.
Ruffy, Ruud van Nistelrooy is a manager. He's in charge now of PSV, and it'll be interesting to see how he handles players. I know Fergie had a wee run in with him, but he was some player in his day.
No, the ex sort of a Dutch players, you know, the big players all seem to find a Dutch club to be the manager of, you know, because they see them coming through all the youth systems and everything, you know, and he was certainly a wonderful player. And if you're going to test yourself, you better test it in your home country.
See if you can guess how many goals he scored for PSV in 67 games.
PSV in 67 games?
Yeah.
I'd say 54.
54 is a good guess, Tam.
I would say 61.
62.
Did he?
It's incredible, by the way.
He gets a meal now.
Yeah, no. It would be great. Last little point, and I think it would be remiss of me not to mention it. I watched the goals against some suspect goalkeeping, I have to say, Ruffy, but Real Madrid against Barcelona, the women's game. It was a fantastic crowd that turned out for this one. We knew it was going to break records. It has broken the record. It was 8-3 in aggregate to Barcelona, 5-2 on the night. And for a women's match, it was phenomenal to see it in the Nou Camp.
Yeah, and I think the whole of women's football will get a spin-off for that. You know, we know that all the young girls want to be playing. I think every senior club has got a women's team now. You know, you've got a team as well.
Yep.
I just think it's promoting the game, and the players at that top level are really top players. You know, it's a joy to watch them. But you're right, sometimes the goalkeeping can be a wee bit suspect.
Yeah, okay.
Why is it the goalkeeping? I wonder why that is.
I know.
Because everybody makes that, and of course, you can, you know, that guy got lampooned for years, but you dare make a joke around about women goalkeepers, or else you'd get the jail, I'm guessing. But why is it the goalie position? Because they look so adept, all else around the park.
I think over a period of time, Tam, they'll start to look and recruit and start to, even at grassroots level, look at women who are physically and you know, their height is taller. I think last night one of the girls lobbed the goalkeeper from about 40 yards.
It just shows it is. You have to. It's a technical position.
Yeah.
You know, you don't just become a goalkeeper. You know, you've got to really work at it. Yeah. And I think the women have obviously got to work it as hard as the men.
Absolutely. Okay.
I wonder if it was having role models, having, you know, folk you could have posters up on your wall.
Yeah.
Because for kids coming through, for boys coming through who were into football, they had so many great goalies they could look up to, right? But when you look at the history of the women's game, this is actually a very smart point I'll make here.
Absolutely. Crack on.
Who did they have to look up to? You know, they'd been kids, you know, Partick Thistle fans and all the rest of it, Scotland fans who'd have said Alan Rough, and they'd have had a poster up on the wall. But I don't think the women have had that in terms of goalies.
I think young girls who are really into women's football and follow the big teams will have their idols. You know, we might not have, because it was not big on our agenda, but I'm sure a lot of girls out there will idolise somebody in some team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you only have to look at the USA with Hope Solo, who was a fantastic goalkeeper goalkeeper, and I think it has inspired many an American girl to go out there and try and emulate what she achieved for the USA. Certainly she has been a real pioneer and at the forefront of it all. So we need things like that to happen in the European game, and certainly in the UK as well. Okay, we started the programme talking about Rangers Celtic. I hope you can go to the game and enjoy yourself. In fact, if you're a fan of any of the Scottish Premiership clubs, go to the game. Enjoy yourself. It is only a game. This one on Sunday, I hope it goes without any trouble whatsoever, and keeping our fingers crossed, Ruffy, that the referee is not at the forefront of any of the decisions. If Willie Collins in the background not being talked about, it'll be a good game.
I'm sure everybody would sum that up. You know, we want to be talking about the football and not about decisions.
Yep. Now, we started off with revealing to you that the Sydney Super Cup Rangers have pulled out of it. You can draw your own conclusions in the mad world of Scottish football. Thanks to Tam, great to have him back with us, and to Ruffy, who's away for a break at this point in the crucial part of the season. But I have to tell you that tomorrow we'll have Ian Ferguson, who's joining us. He's a local Motherwell lad and played with distinction, I have to say, for Dundee United. And of course, let's not forget Hearts and Rangers as well. So I'm really looking forward to having one of my old village mates come in here. Ian's a good lad.
Yeah, another Braithurst High School pupil.
Exactly.
Yeah, another one. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. So Ian's going to join us with Hugh McDonald and Charlie Adam as well. So there's a great foursome full of knowledge, commitment to the cause, and with us here in the programme at the critical part of the season.
I got to pick him up before I go to Turkey.
Yes, and with that in mind, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you to so many of you who have been downloading the podcast in your thousands. From February to March, we've had 500,000 downloads, which is absolutely magnificent. A big thank you to everybody. The figures have been superb. YouTube subscribers and watching the programme near and far. We really are delighted that you are embracing the show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel as well as the podcast. And if you download the app, you get all the breaking stories on PLZ Soccer's app in Google Play and in the App Store. Have a great weekend from all of us here. Thanks for watching.